This is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre Hill, your host, and we have our usual three wise men. Brenda is out with her educational bus this morning, raising funds. To get it all painted up so she can go into the neighborhoods and teach people the truth. But this morning, the three wise men, we have our usual co-host, Terrence Lake, our chairman. How you doing this morning, sir?
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing well. Thank you. Looking forward to a very informative show, as usual.
Yes, sir. So, we got to talk about some professional football here, just a brief moment. So I call them the Washington Redskins because when I lived in D.C., that was the name of them, and they are coming to or headed to Detroit, right?
Yes, today at 2 or 3 o'clock.
So after the Redskins beat up on our Tampa Bay Bucks.
I don't think so.
So after they beat up on our Bucks, so you think the Lions got to handle this, huh?
Oh yes, they're more than ready.
All right, I always have to check on the weather up there because it's been gloomy here in Florida. We don't have any sunshine, and we haven't had any lately. How's your weather looking up there?
Well, we won't have any sunshine today. Yesterday was a beautiful day, but today it's snowy. A little rain mixed with the snow, but it'll probably after a while be more snow, and it's cold as usual. Just dealing with it.
I don't
the season.
I don't miss it at all. Also, our co-host and engineer, Andre Hill Jr. How you doing, man?
Doing good. To some extent, I'm kind of enjoying the gloomy weather out there. It kind of reminds me of home in Nashville and DC.
Absolutely. Well, so today is going to be an informative show. All of our shows are informative, but I have some special goodies in this particular show, and the whole let all of the cultures understand this. As the three wise men, we have one agenda, one objective, and that's to raise the frequency on this planet so we can qualify as a high civilized, and I'm gonna be careful with the word civilized, frequency species. Every species in the universe has to go through what we're going through right now: division, war, murder, kill, lie, deception. And all of that's brought on because it's part of the evolutionary process of respecting the balance of the laws of the universe, the balance of equality, and treating people the way you want to be treated. That's our primary objective. We're not hating on any one particular culture. We're not advocating that one culture is better than the other. But it's our job and our purpose, all three of us, we are constantly encouraging, urging on spiritual evolution, and we're being evaluated by the Most High right now, and they're watching us and they're urging us on. But it's up to us individually to recognize, how valuable it is to treat people the way you want to be treated, to respect every human being on this planet with unconditional love, and that's the objective. So sometimes I post things about Caucasian people. I post things about our beautiful melanated women, but that's to get them to recognize and to understand, if you're caught up in this illusionary system that was brought here by malevolent extraterrestrials, low frequency beings that even operate supposedly from the inner earth. They have one objective, and that's to continue to enslave us and to feed off us until we demonstrate to them that we are established as a civilized species, and we are accepted in the so-called grand scheme of the Galactic Council to operate on that level of advanced science and metaphysical consciousness. So that it's a disclaimer. Had to put that out there. I'm quite sure everybody else on the panel is in agreement with that. But our topics for today, I always post on Fridays. This Friday, I posted a little later than usual. Good evening, family. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Straight Talk Network. So you can find us on YouTube. I always put the link there. You just click it on and click live. Or you can watch this live on my Facebook page at Andre Hill Sr. And tell your friends about it, because the knowledge we're bringing is going to set you free. And it's in the old saying, the truth will set you free. We're bringing the truth, and that's our purpose, and that's our mission. In the beginning, we all had melanated bodies. All of the cultures on this planet. All right, we all, that's the machine gun. We all had melanated bodies. So I can go into a more complex situation. There are alien, blonde, blue-eyed extraterrestrials from other solar systems that visit the planet, but they had to wait on their opportunity to inject their DNA. But in the beginning, on the surface, we all had melanated bodies. And the reason we had melanated bodies is because if you're living on the surface, the sun gives you energy, it feeds you, it gives you light. And we had a pineal gland that was active in creating melanin in your skin, and that continues from certain radiations that help the earth to grow. And so we're going to go into the specifics about, how that affected us and some of the stories of how Caucasian people came about 6,000 years ago. So also it says, who were the ET, in parenthesis, gods, that decided to create Caucasian bodies approximately 6,000 years ago? Also, a lot of this is taken from our book, Lucifer's Revenge.net. You can go to that and order a book to start reading up on how you're going to re-empower yourself, your family, and your community. Also, the chairman believes that the government had already revealed the truth about UFPs. So the chairman is going to weigh in on his interpretation of how they are disclosing information, and also about a documentary that's giving you some updated information. Also, the younger generations are researching the fact that Black Aboriginals has been in the Americas thousands of years before the transatlantic slave shipment. Tune in and be enlightened. So we got a video to play of a young sister that was giving some insight on how we came about. So let's open up this discussion. My son, he wrote a particular piece about the different, I call them scientists, that help develop our species. But at what point do you think they came up with the bright idea of bringing the Caucasian phenotype to the surface?
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, talking about the Anunnaki, and I got to point this one out, and I state this in the book clearly. The Anunnaki didn't create Aboriginal people. As a matter of fact, the Anunnaki are hybrids, descendants of the Aboriginal people on this planet. All right. In other words, have Aboriginal and have potentially intergalactic reptilian, based on their own description, right? But then, seemingly, they did create the what we call the Caucasian phenotype, meaning pale skin, particular grade of hair, and particular phenotype. To answer your question, we could say probably about 8,000 maybe 9,000 years ago. But even after their creation, you can imagine them having to go through a couple millennia of development before they were allowed to kind of, traverse into different areas. And I can't even say around the planet because they were kind of confined to that, not even Europe, well, the continent we call Europe, more so around that Caucasus mountain area and a little bit south of there, and kind of north of what we now call the Middle East. Yeah, that's
your take.
That's what it's.
Chairman, you have anything on that topic before I weigh in?
Well, like Junior was saying, when they came, we were already here. Now, my vibrations that I pick up is when our Caucasian brothers and sisters came here, they knew they came from another planet. That's why they were able to go and circumvent the planet and intrude on other societies. And in some ways it was peaceful, and in some ways it was violent. When they went in with the missionaries, it was a peaceful, encounter. But when then they came in with the conquistadors and the Vikings, it got kind of violent. They wanted to take. And for a fact that the continent of Africa was all Negroid, blacks. And when our Caucasian brothers went down in the southern part, they took over South Africa, and it goes almost along with when they came over to North America, how they brought slaves from Africa to North America to do the bidding, you know. So what I'm saying is when our Caucasian brothers came here, they had pre-knowledge. They knew this planet was round, and ignoring the fact that even the church, the Catholic Church, said that it was flat, and that if you went so far out, you would fall off. That was a lie. And we know a lot of lies are being told and have been told. But, it is what it is. And a lot of information's coming out, that are coming from the archives of the Catholic Church in Rome, where the stronghold is, it's just revealing what the truth is. And I believe basically with the Akashic records, that'll reveal everything, because that is nothing but the truth of every, move that man has made on this planet. It's been recorded, can't be denied. So, I feel that when every living soul leaves here and goes through his metamorphosis, he'll get a chance to review his experience on planet Earth, and it'll be displayed to him where he can't deny what he's done. It's like a lot of these murders and things that people never find out who did it. That's all been recorded. We got our records. We show movies, but the Akashic records don't lie. It shows everything, every second that you've been from birth to death. And that's my take on that situation.
All right, so there are different timelines or different stories. Why didn't we just all stay melanated? That's the most logical phenocode to maintain, because if you're going to operate on the surface, you need some protection from the sun. You need melanin. But there are many different stories. Now, I also within our organizational chart, we have a council of elders. If you are an elder in your late 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, and 90s, and you want to get involved with becoming an elder, you don't have to worry about, you don't know the history of how the Aboriginals came back. It was suppressed from all of us. Even at my age, I'm still learning new things about how we were in different parts of the land and was established here for thousands of years. But that was the case all over the planet. There were melanated people all over the planet because that was the original design. Now here I have one particular story from one of our elders. It was a story done in New York, and by Mama Lubaba. She was involved in the theater there. It was called The Production of the Black Mass. It tells how the white man was created in a laboratory by Yakub. That's Yacub, a black scientist who was directed by his authorities to stop his invention. The invention that will change a peaceful, productive environment into chaos, putting the society in conflict and into a confrontational and diseased state. So that'll make you think. Now this play was done. I think it was back in the '60s, and at the appropriate time, we're going to bring that script to fruition, or bring it to modern day, and we might even do a play on it. Hopefully, when Mama Lubaba is ready, we'll bring her on to talk about how the script was written. So the question still remains: why not everybody just keep everybody melanated? Well, it goes along with the first statement that I made, that every species must be tested by the High Command, the Galactic Council, whatever you want to call them. And before you can join, it's just like the United Nations. But before you can join this Galactic Council, you have to demonstrate that you're civilized, that you are no longer murdering, killing people because of the color of their skin, the sex, sexual orientation, or or religious differences, or murdering people to take their land and all of that crazy. Once you can demonstrate that you understand the universal laws of balance, that the universe provides for everything that it creates. So why do you have to murder, lie, cheat, steal to get more of what? You can only eat so much food a day. You can only drive from point A to point B. You can only sleep in one bed at night. So what's driving us with this insanity to do all these things? And so we point this out in our book, Lucifer's Revenge. We try to give you a scenario of the different sciences that came to a point where they said, well, we're going to create some Caucasian people. and why did they do that? Now, hey, I got to ask my son a question. There was also a scientist that was born within a certain time frame, and he had an abnormally large head. And the other melanated people used to poke fun at him. And so as revenge, he developed the Caucasian people to conquer the Aboriginal people on the planet. Can you expand on that?
Yeah. So what we're talking about again is Yakub and the narrative of Yakub. And based on the story, Yakub's disdain for his own people, because Yakub was black. He was born of melanated nation in Africa. I think somewhere around where Timbuktu was, I think. And although he had the excuse that since he was made fun of by his own people, that was going to be his reasoning for creating a race of people that was going to cause turmoil and destruction among the many nations among the planet. His uncle knew that he was predestined to fulfill that role anyway. In other words, he was born to do that, and that highlights another point I want to make with the evolutionary mechanics of our of our solar system, our galaxy, our universe, in total. Earlier you said, all humans have to be tested, and through a lens of, let's say, cosmology, we can see how different seasons are going to test every bit of our existence. It's a very profound and intricate and highly intelligent system of matter and space and time that we're living within. And so Yaqub's uncle understood this system, and he also understood that, okay, during these particular seasons, particular people of the, well, let's say souls, certain souls are going to incarnate into melanated bodies that are going to carry out and actual fruition the testing of our people. So although although Yaqub used the excuse that, my own people made fun of me, so I'm going to get them back, the real reason was he was predestined to fulfill that role, because he also, as a young child, according to the story, was playing with some magnets, and he understood, from playing with these magnets and him having exceptional intelligence, he quickly deduced the concept of electromagnetism, at a young age. In other words, that's like understanding aeronautics physics at the age of 7, right? So him being that intelligent, and predestined to carry out this creation of certain people who were going to cause certain consequences for other people. He stated to his uncle that with this understanding of electromagnetism, I'm going to separate the black, they call it the black germ. I'm going to separate it and create, or I'm going to remove that black germ from the people and create a different race that is going to rule over them for a certain amount of time.
All right.
That's what the story says.
Okay. All right. So that's an interesting take on it. But it all has to deal with, first of all, the timing, the season, because there is a season for everything. There's a season for a division in a species, and I think that that when that season happens, it could be a multitude of circumstances to stimulate that event. Now, one of the in our book Lucifer's Revenge, that story was based on the story by John Milton, who lived in the 1600s, who I believe was a black man who rebelled against the Catholic Church or the churches, and he knew what they were doing when they were creating these different religions. And so he tried to explain it from his perspective in that particular time, living in the 1600s, what went on to precipitate a division in our species. And in the Paradise Lost, in the poems written by John Milton, he described the so-called war in the heavens, which was a war in another solar system. And he described an insurrection, just like the insurrection that happened here in the Americas or anywhere else in the universe, when one party disagreed with another, and what the consequences of that insurrection, what happened to those individuals that led an uprising against the high command and got beat down. So he explained it from the terminology from the 1600s. And so what my son and I did, we interpreted and took the information and transferred it into a modern day understanding based on extraterrestrials are being acknowledged by our government right now, that they have existed below Earth and above Earth since the beginning of time. So we interpret it that way to help give you an understanding of how you're going to regain the spiritual Christ-like, God-like being within yourself, to where you control the narrative through positive thought. And that's what the agenda is. So, once again, Lucifer was a high being, a well respected being who got the big head and decided to go against the laws of balance. And then he got beat down, and then he was exiled. It never said John Milton could interpret that he was exiled to a desolate planet and was there for thousands of years before he regained his knowledge and understanding and the technology to catch a portal to come to Earth. But we break it down in modern day language so you can understand what happened. Why is all this going on the planet? Why are these Caucasians over there pretending to be the Israelites and murdering all these people? And for land. And the same thing happened here in the Americas. The Aboriginals were murdered even after they took in the one particular group. Now, let me pay a special attention to a particular note of history. The original Europeans and aristocrats and the noblest were melanated people. So they were, they knew who the Caucasians were when the Caucasians were being developed. Once again, this culture is only, I say 6,000, my son said 8,000, 6,000 years old. And so they are going through the process of attrition, of understanding how to be a civilized human, how to bathe, how to cook your food. And the Aboriginals had to teach them that. And so it is believed that the first Europeans that came to the Americas were melanated people, royalists of the European collective. And when they came to the Americas, they made an offer to the Aboriginals, and evidently the Aboriginals didn't go along with it, or something went down where they were not in agreement with it. The question is, were those Aboriginal melanated Europeans, did they buy into Lucifer's revenge? Were they offering the Aboriginals here in the Americas a deal to be a part of this movement, this fake religion, fake Christianity with fake images? We're researching that, and a lot of you advanced humans that get downloads, you're going to help us regain that history. But all of these different scenarios is what created this condition. So I brought up, pointed out that in the beginning, a majority of us had melanated bodies. So what happened? Did some of us lose the privilege of having a melanated body and ended up reincarnating into these Caucasian bodies as a punishment? Because the existence, and no matter how good some of the Caucasian brothers and sisters are, still the existence of this phenotype has caused an upset in the balance on this planet. Was it designed? Yes, it was. Because for some reason, and I'm running into the same problem even right here in the Americas, some of the Aboriginal chiefs, they got all of these secrecies about, well, how long my family's been here, how many generations I can go back. Well, the leader of the clan should be a matriarch, or the leader should be a patriarch. All this division. And I see, if I was a low frequency, malevolent extraterrestrial, it would have been easy to conquer this planet, because they got all this craziness going on. And that is what happened. And so every one of those individuals, now this is something to really think about. Every one of those individuals that forsake their species for their own selfish agenda, most likely reincarnated into those Caucasian bodies. So what we're encouraging our Caucasian brothers and sisters is to work on reversing that. That means to repent, to change your ways, so that you can earn the right to possess a melanated body in the next life. And once we all have melanated bodies again, we don't have to have that division. We don't have to be fighting or claiming that, well, this is our land when you only been on this planet 6,000 years. So how you're gonna claim the land? That's what is going down right now, because the ones in those Caucasian bodies cannot find their heritage to this land, so they just go in and take it and murder the indigenous people. Hey, Chairman, you still there?
Yes.
Okay, you lost your picture. What's your thought on that event?
As far as who was first and how did the Caucasians get here, or were they made from Yaku? I've heard that story, and like you said earlier, there are different stories, but also from the Caucasians' perspective, you're not going to convince any of them that they came from us. Now, they talk about the Palladians from that system, okay? And some of them talk about Orion system, and a lot of them talk about star seeds that they feel they were dropped off here under this universal experiment to see how man can adapt with different, cultures getting along, you know. And my take, I tend to believe that Caucasians did come from another solar system. And I also believe that we came from another solar system. Sirius star system, the Nomos came to planet Earth. They came in contact with the Dogon tribe. They told the Dogon tribe that this is where the blacks came from, this Sirius B planet that revolved in this Sirius star system. And they said that, they drew pictures in the cave where on planet Earth showing the Dogons that, this is the system, and had the constellations printed almost perfectly drawn. And then when the Caucasian explorers came to the Dogon tribe, and the Dogon tribes took them into the cave and showed them this constellation, the archaeologists were dumbfounded. They couldn't realize, wow, how could these natives know about this system, and they don't even have telescopes? But then one of them noticed that there was a star system in that constellation that they said it didn't exist. And they didn't argue, the Dogons. They just told them, this is what we were told, and was drawn, and this is our depiction. So when the explorers left and they got more advanced with their technology and they looked into the Sirius star system closer, they spotted that star that the Dogons received from the Nomos. So they were really astounded, So I could understand that, because I know at one time there were no people on planet Earth. There were probably the first living creatures were the dinosaurs, looking at the bone structures that we've uncovered, So we all had to have been brought here to this planet. And in my book, God's Child, I talk about how we were in other solar systems and we got advanced and we traveled to another solar system and came in contact with other humans, and we sort of got along, but then we had religious differences, and through those religious differences we started battling and fighting each other. And with our technology, we got to the point where we were almost ready to destroy the universe, in a sense. So we drew a truce and decided to put, a tribe of each group on planet Earth. And that's how we got here, that we were brought to planet Earth, because we know that at one time there was no humans on planet Earth. And now we realize that basically there is only one creator that created this universe. And we're all the creator's I call children, because we're on the top of the totem pole as far as creatures on planet. We have dominion, over it. There's nothing like the human being. We can help all other creatures, but all other creatures can't help us. But we have to learn how to live in harmony with each other, because our universal brothers that brought us here to planet Earth, we have got to, losing my thought, is just so much to the story,
That
but
wheel of time, it'll come back around. Well,
that's what happens when you get older.
well, Chairman, interesting you should say that piece, that particular piece about no way you can convince Caucasians that they came from us. And
Right.
so here's the unique thing about starting a new planet. It has a unique DNA signature based on its position in the solar system, based on the electromagnetic fields of the solar system. When you create a new species, it develops its own DNA, genotype that's unique to that planet. So if you come from somewhere else, you will eventually mutate to find balance on that planet. And so that's why the Galactic Council is what it is. When a new species is created, it accepts that species after it has evolved, after it's mutated, found balance, and evolved to a high frequency to understand the God formula of creating new life, how to create balance with the the earth, the animals, the water, the sun. It's all math and science, and it's free. You shouldn't be charged for it. So now, for those Caucasian people, here's something I know for certain, and it's based on a meeting I had with a Caucasian woman who had been abducted, and I've told this story many times on the show before. But she explained to me how these beings were taking her DNA out to preserve themselves. So those, I call them the nice, nasty extraterrestrial. There are Nordic, blonde, blue-eyed Caucasians or type species in different parts of the universe because of the electromagnetic fields of that solar system. To be without melanin was conducive to their development, and they evolved, and that's their signature, but it's not Earth's signature. So what they did is like any other alien species, at the appropriate time, they intervened and crossbred some of their DNA in a human female subject. And if the original humans on this planet were melanated, it had to be a aboriginal black mitochondrial DNA. Don't care who you are, because that DNA has a record of all of the diseases, everything that all the species on this planet has gone through in order to live on the planet. And so you can get around that, but you better pile yourself up with a lot of vaccines to help you fight off all of the bacteria and diseases on this planet. But in order for you to survive for any length of time, you're gonna have to get the mitochondrial DNA from the original woman. You got to use her egg, and you can inject your sperm into that to create a new culture and a new species, a new phenotype. And that's the reality of the situation. And what the Galactic Council does is when that species reach a point, it evolves to a high frequency that it is accepted as the human beings of Earth or Gaia, whatever they record this planet as, and it will have a seat at the table to discuss further expansion of the universe. So if you Caucasian, you came from a black woman. If you exist on this planet, if you can walk around on the surface, somewhere in your DNA, there's a melanated woman that gave you the basis for you to walk around on this planet. So All right.
What about the Mongoloid? What about the Mongoloid? They come from blacks too? Are you
yeah, yeah.
you're not going to convince them that?
No. So you know, the thing about it is that they have a certain degree of melanin in their skin, and that's why some of them they're called yellow or red. But they got that from melanin.
Talking about Mongoloids.
Yeah,
Mongoloids. Right.
They have Neanderthal and they know it.
yeah, yeah.
You say half Neanderthal? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
there is a creator, and the creator created all living life on this planet, every species that exists. And some of us, like I say, came from other solar systems to this planet because at one time there were no humans on this planet.
absolutely, yeah. I agree. Yeah, we all come from somewhere. All of our DNA came from somewhere else because this planet was, when it formed, it was a hot molten rock.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Well, I think we got two more topics. Chairman, you ran and sent me a video about that has the government already recognized the UAPs, and then when I studied the video, it gave reference to a film that's very similar to the one when I went up to Washington D.C. to try to collaborate with Stephen Greer and his crew, and with negative results. And this video is called Accidental Truth. Now, typically, I'm usually not promoting videos by other cultures, but this is what I'm encouraging to melanated people. We can do our own videos about our story and our interactions with the extraterrestrials, because the other cultures are never going to do that for you. They're not going to do it because their master, who, whether it's Yakub, Lucifer, or whoever that created them so that they will worship them, um, it don't want us to recognize that, just like the chairman said, we all come from somewhere else in the universe. They don't want you to know that. They want you to think that they waved a magic wand or took 100 pounds of clay and blew into it and created you right here on Earth. That's the craziness that they want you to believe in. But Chairman, tell us about what you think going on with the disclosure.
Well, what I think basically, those committees, it's a certain group, they know that extraterrestrials exist. They've got evidence in certain archives that they're not exposing to the average person. And they're trying to break it down to us in a hand-fed fashion so we don't freak out, because they know the extraterrestrials are going to make contact. And I believe they already have with a certain elite group of people. But the government are trying to, like I say, just tell us bits and pieces at a time. It's just like with Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's gotten people in the government that have shown him or told him certain information that they don't want him to tell anyone else. You know, I'm getting off track. This is just so much, and it's beautiful that we're able to talk about it and get some type of truth out of this situation. But with this disclosure, they're trying to prepare us for this contact that they've already made contact with, so we don't freak out and get hysterical about the existence of extraterrestrials. It's just like the War of the Worlds, that radio program that they had on, and they were just playing with the people, and they say that we were being attacked by aliens, and the people freaked out and they were running around like madmen, trying to find a place to hide, like extraterrestrials exist. It's just real. And with Stephen Greer, he's got so many people in government that are letting him know that we've been experimenting with down craft that have been blown out of the sky, and we've gotten those remnants, and we're trying to reverse engineer that technology, you know, and that's been going on for a long time. But the point is that, you know, we've got to learn how to live in harmony with each other before we can really truly understand those extraterrestrials, because their technology is way more superior than ours, because they're doing what we're trying to do. That's why they're trying to re-engineer, reverse engineer that technology, because they want to have that technology to be able to go to Mars in maybe 2 or 3 days instead of 6 or 7 months. You know, they're discussing this here amongst certain elite groups that they don't want the average person to know, because they want to get there first. That's the reason why they're putting so much money into Elon Musk operation, because they want to make sure that they get there first. Elon Musk, if he goes to Mars, okay, and start a colony, he could become a renegade and say he don't want to have anything to do with the United States or the Earth, planet Earth again. That he's got his own little world, and it's just like a country taking over another country. You know, people want to be in control, and that's why they want to get out to Mars to be in control. And it's also a planet that is similar to Earth. So if something does happen to Earth, a comet comes and hit us, or we know it's coming and it's going to hit us, we can go to another planet to continue to live until, you know, either Earth get it together, or we have to go out of our solar system and find another planet that's, you know, like Earth, and continue our existence. You know, there's so much for us to learn, but the only way we're going to learn is just have equal opportunity, to give everybody that opportunity to express their thoughts and their technology or their way of, you know, bringing this technology to help us advance. It's very important. And so much I want to say.
But Chairman, you know, one thing about the video you sent me, and one of the things they said in this, I'm gonna recommend this video. It's on YouTube. It's for free.
Yes.
It's called Accidental Truth. And it gave a lot of detailed stories and verifications of military and government officials, employees that have been exposed to the alien agenda.
Yes.
And unfortunately, now this is, listen to me clearly, in the Black community, and especially in the Black churches, it's taboo to talk about extraterrestrial. And the chairman and I have been going through this since the 60s, the 70s, on up. You know, if you talk about extraterrestrial, oh man, you crazy. You must have been smoking some good weed, you know. And we, this is what, but the reason it was taboo is because the Catholic Church underwrote these Black churches, and they were not allowed to talk about these truths because the Aboriginal people will connect the dots and figure this thing out. At no time have I been in a Black church and they talked about the possibility of life in other parts of the universe.
Right.
At no time. If you, anybody out there, if you heard them talk about that, send me an email. You know, my son is going to give you the email at the end of the show. But I haven't, because it's taboo, because the Catholic Church, which I believe, and based on our book, Lucifer's Revenge, Lucifer, the low frequency aliens set up the Catholic Church to enslave us with these religions. All the religions that came out of that Catholic Church program was designed to enslave us, and to enslave us mentally, spiritually, and psychologically. They're all based on deceptions and metaphors, but not the truth. And that's what we're doing on this show. So the other thing is, the government don't want you to know about the alien craft they've been trying. You know why they reclaim, they can't reverse engineer a lot of the good technology? Because you're doing it with negative energy. You're sneaking behind the taxpayers' back. You're selling this technology to corporations in little bits and pieces to make money to continue to enslave your species. These extraterrestrials are highly intelligent. You ain't fooling nobody.
That's right.
You're not going to get the good technology doing that behind the back bullcrap. And we know you don't want to disclose this information because you're making money off of it. You get money off the table. And yet it's destroying our planet. This illusion of white supremacy, to maintain that, it ain't white supremacy, it's greed.
And control.
And control. And we know, and the whole population is waking up, and your karma is coming. You keep disclosing and suppressing this knowledge and keeping this technology because you want to charge people to live on their own planet. All the technology that's out there, we don't have to be paying no bills. We can start working on ourselves spiritually.
That's right.
Can destroy our planet. But we got a few fools enjoying our planet at the expense of destroying it.
Yes. Agree 100%.
That's why they don't want the disclosure. All right, so we're getting close to time. So here's one of the things that, what a part of the awakening process, we know we got to wake up the Aboriginal people, and to my Caucasian cousins, you can start working on earning a melanated body. So in the next life, so that you don't have to worry about getting suntan or having these beautiful symmetric bodies and all that, and being jealous of one group, because you don't have all that. So, but we're gonna go into the Aboriginals and the education of Aboriginal people, the miseducation of Aboriginal people, so in order to get control of our planet. Hey man, can you set that video up?
Because it is what connects us to source. This land is living, breathing. It has life, and it is connected to us. Think of the movie Avatar. These are people who are foreign to the American military. They have a different way of life, a different way of thinking. They are connected to their nature spiritually, and that is their religion. As a result of learning that, the American military decides that they're going to chop down the trees in that Avatar community, the trees of the Navajo people. And what ends up happening is it weakens them spiritually. Literally, when the American military comes in and destroys the land, it weakens them, their force, their power, and they are no longer the force that they once were. We are the same way. We are indigenous to this land. It is connected to us. It is spiritual. It is us, which is why the sun loves you.
Let's let it play over.
A lot of people don't know why Malcolm X was killed, and that's the problem. So I'm going to tell you here. Malcolm X was killed because he found out that we were indigenous to this land, which is the reason why Martin publicly stated before his death that he actually agreed with Malcolm X, because he learned what Malcolm had learned, that we are indigenous to this land. Therefore, if I am indigenous to the land, why the fuck would I ask for a reparation? What is a reparation going to do for me when I own the land? This has been the spiritual war going on for millennia. We are prisoners of war. And when they successfully separated us from the knowledge that we are indigenous to this land, they successfully separated us from source, from soul, from God, who is us. So to get our land back is a spiritual war. It's something that we have to have happen because it is what connects us to source. This land is living, breathing. It has life, and it is connected to us. Think of the movie Avatar. These are people who are foreign to the American military. They have a different way of life, a different way of thinking. They are connected to.
Okay. So what this beautiful young sister, and I was so excited because she's in my son's generation. Isn't she about your age? A little younger?
You know what? You can't tell what it's like.
Yeah. So what I like about this particular video is this young sister, and to all of you young melanated people, y'all need to get with this knowledge. You can get it from my son, but search this young lady out. And that's the knowledge you need to be studying. All of this land, let's deal in the Americas right now. All this land was our land. And our ancestors who took in these other cultures, when they fed them, they gave them medicine, they treated them good, and then when they went to sleep, they murdered them, your ancestors, in their sleep and set the houses on fire. And any children that survived, they put them in the slave camps, reclassified them as Negroes. They took away your nationality, reclassified you as Negroes, and enslaved you. And they set up the church system to tell you a lie that they are the gods, and gave you a false image of a blonde, blue-eyed man that's your God. All right. So we are working on developing. We have developed a Aboriginal nation. We know a lot of you have land or there's air property. You don't know what to do with it. You're paying the taxes on it. We're going to be contacting you. You need to contact us. My son is going to give you another email after the end of the show. And how to get that land registered, how we're going to move forward to getting it separated from the United States of corporate America, which is a corporation to enslave Aboriginal people. We're separating from them. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you trying to break up the American government. No, we're just reclaiming our status because you have raped us, imprisoned us, you lied to us, you poisoned us, and you destroyed our families for 400 years. So we have a vote of no confidence. And so there, like the young lady said, this is a spiritual war. There is a spiritual frequency that any group, whether you Caucasian or if you are Aboriginal and you are a Judas to Aboriginal people, you will die. You will be destroyed. But as soon as we get a collective of people to operate on this frequency of understanding this is our land, this is our planet, and we're going to do right by each other, we're going to help each other, we're going to heal each other, feed each other, educate, and start elevating to a higher frequency. When anybody steps before us to stop this, they will die. They will be destroyed. And there's a technology that's waiting for us, but we will only get that technology when we come together and respect the fact that we have to love each other unconditionally. I know we got some serious issues, and the reason we're separating, we need to go into a healing process because we got some real sick issues going on. We've been incarcerated in prison, forced into homosexual activity. You know, we've been separated from our children. We understand. We know you got some sickness going on, but we're going to work on healing that. But we're going to take you out of this hamster wheel and let you cool out for a minute and then recalibrate yourself. But we can only do that when we come together and you chosen ones. You know who you are. You've known this since you were a child that you were a chosen one. You are the first wave. You guys are required to come together with us to start developing this frequency. And then the other people around you will see the miracles manifest by example. But you chosen ones, you got to step up first. You need to get with them. Hey, well, we got 1 minute. Hey, Chairman, wait, hold on. Chairman. Junior, you got anything to say to this part about what this young lady is saying?
No, if I do, I'll tell you what I'll say for the next show because I know if I get to talking, I think I'm talking for a short time. Next thing I know, 10 minutes been up there. But no, other than I agree with her. She gave a very good analogy, and we just had, and the example she used, you know, the U.S. military coming to the Avatar planet, poisoning a planet, chopping down or polluting and destroying the environment. That's the same thing a parasite would do. There's just one thing I want to say before we get off the show. We have to put all of that, anybody on this planet that is willing to commit the same acts of genocide, transgressions against the people and the planet, that is a parasitic entity and or regime. You need to observe them as such, view them as such, and treat them as such. And what do you usually want to do with parasites? You want to get rid of them. Plain and simple, because a parasite only does one thing. It infiltrates your body, and we are part of the planet of the body of the planet, and we are healthy cells on the planet unless we abide by this parasitic regime. So and instead of looking at them like they're anything other than that, they're not more supreme than us, they're not smarter, more intelligent, they're not apex predators, they ain't none of that. They're just simply parasites doing what parasites do. And you view them as such, and get on the track of healing yourself, which is healing the body of the planet, and thus galaxy and the universe and so forth and so on. All right, I'm letting that play. That was only 1 minute. That was cool. That was cool.
Hey, Chairman, do you have closing words and tell people how they can find your book?
Yes, with my book titled God's Child, it's a picture of the universe centered on planet Earth, and it's available at Amazon Books or my website, www.godschildren.biz. And my closing words are, there's only one creator that created this infinite universe, and that creator put its creation into us, breathed and gave us life. And our purpose is to learn how to live in harmony with each other. There's more than enough for more than all of us. There are infinite amounts of planet. If we need room, we have the intelligence to go to other planets and continue our procreation and our experience in life. But we have got to come together on all fronts. And like you say, with this parasites, we do have to put them down because they were created to destroy. But we were created to be like our creator and do creative things. And we need to make this planet unified for our young generation because they have so many gifts to offer and to help just make this a heavenly environment on Earth. And I feel it's going to happen sooner than later. And I'll land that plane.
All right. So, thank you, Chairman. I got one statement to all the different groups that are in disarray right now. To my Caucasian cousins, go out and buy a copy of the Chairman's book. Go out and buy a copy of our book, Lucifer's Revenge. It's on Amazon. And there has been economic sanctions against us because we're putting the knowledge out of truth. Our books are being contained. And if you want to do one thing to start working on eliminating those generational curses from your family, because it's not going to get any better. If you continue being a part of stealing people's land, murdering people, raping them, pedophiling, all of that stuff, it comes around, it gets deeper and deeper into your family. So get started. Get a copy of our book. Go to lucifersrevenge.net. Or go to Amazon, type in Andre Hill Sr. and Andre Hill Jr., Lucifer's Revenge. Get the Chairman's book. That help us. That help us to hire our women, because our women have got a real serious sickness going on right now. They have bought into this white supremacy concept, and a lot of them are comfortable with it. That they can call on this sick Caucasian man to lock their men up or put them in order if they don't do like they say. So we got some serious healing. Our women have been left unprotected for 400 years, so they have mutated, and they got some serious spiritual and mental issues going on right now. And a lot of them, they're not going to come around in time enough. We might even have to go import some women. Now I'm talking to the black man. Listen, brother, You know, a lot of you guys didn't have fathers in your life. A lot of you guys missed out on having certain structure in your life from older men. We're sorry about that. Me, my son, and the chairman, we're providing that for you now. We're giving you all the knowledge and technology that you need. But brothers, you're not going to have any women. Your women are dissolving. They are either becoming lesbian or they're going towards Caucasian men, and which is instant death. And they're going to for them for financial support because the Caucasian man or white supremacy knows that in order for it to maintain its position of power, it must implement white supremacy. It must shut you down, black man. So we're not telling you to hate Caucasian men. All we saying the best remedy and medicine for them is for you guys to come together, stop killing each other, stop tripping about who's got what, who's getting what, who's got the best looking girl, what kind of car you're driving. All that stuff is getting ready to be taken because the end game in white supremacy is the death of the Aboriginal male. So we are working on restoring your dignity, you know. So come join us. Get together with your families. Put all your divisions aside, you know, that from you've had from the past. Because if you don't, you will die along with all these other demonic self-serving cultures. And you see what happened with the P. Diddy episode, all them entertainers that compromise their soul for the limelight of fame and fortune, the illusion of fame and fortune. That's the end game. So there is another option. We're offering that. And you got three wise men right here on this panel that's ready and waiting on you guys to come join us. Hey man, I'm gonna close it out. You was gonna lead into what we're gonna talk about the show for next week, and give them the email address how they can make contact with us.
Oh, you're really quick. Let me give out the email address first. Email is uaarlife@gmail.com. That's uarlife@gmail.com. uaarlife@gmail.com. And so I found a video of a sister that's American, and she moved to Ghana. And she was giving her take on her experience as an Aboriginal American woman moving to an African country. And before I say anything on this, let me first state this first. When our group UR says we're Aboriginal to American, by no means do we have any other intentions that I hear a lot of other Aboriginal groups saying that we ain't African and we don't want to have nothing to do with that. That's not what UR is saying. We understand that Aboriginal people all over the planet need to start connecting. Now, of course, you know, we're gonna have some groups that just ain't agreeable, but we ain't worried about them. We're worried about the ones who on the right vibration and frequency, who want to connect and collaborate and build a beautiful world on this planet, like the chairman always says. But the video of this sister who moved to Ghana, she was giving an account on some of her experiences, some of her negative experiences, and moving to an African country as an individual family. And that's the key point I want to leave right there. There's a way that we're going to connect, particularly Black Aboriginals from America are going to connect to Black Africans, especially if we're talking about any citizenship and or economic collaboration. It's a particular way we have to do that, and we have to do that as a collective. Can't go over to their country and just show up and live the same lifestyle that you lived in America. Because again, remember, you living in America under this parasitic regime, you are a consumer by every means, right? And so when you go to another country, you have to look at it like, okay, what am I contributing truly to this country? Not just the dollar bills I have with dead Caucasian men's face on. That's not enough. You have to think of it like, okay, if another country is taking you in, they have to accommodate space for you. You another list on many different documents of work that they have to now administrate. So what are you contributing to their country, and how as a collective when you go over there, do you want to help build and sustain and help evolve their nation? But we're going to get into that more on the next show. So I'll land that plane there. Again, the email is uarlife, UAARLIFE @gmail.com. Reach out to us. Anything concerning you wanting to get involved with our tribal government and all endeavors that we got planned moving forward. But if that's I'm gonna land that plane there. If that's it, I'm gonna close the show on out.
Peace out.
All right, peace and love, everyone.
Conversation, peace.